This is a brand new 2025 4K UHD release in every respect of the word, brand new, as it is of a 2025 film. Now, this is a science fiction thriller, a little bit of horror mixed in there, and some dark comedy. Also, maybe a little bit of satire, maybe some with a little bit of maybe a political edge to it. And we are talking about Companion. This film stars Sophie Thatcher, who plays, as you can see on the cover. She's right there on the cover, but she plays. This is a little bit of spoiler for the first act, but everybody knows this. She plays an android or a robot who is she's a sex bot or a companion bot. Sophie Thatcher looks terrific in this film, and she also did terrific work in the film Heretic. Now, I did a review on this recently. You can check that out on my channel. I'm going to put a link to my review of Heretic in the comments below. And if you would do me a favor, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm Dave Watkins, Watkins Films. Now, Companion, I did not see this at the theater. This is a brand new film. I rarely go to the theater. I occasionally go. But this one, it had about a $10 million budget. I made about $32 million, I believe. So it did pretty good. Now, the interesting thing about films to this nature is when they keep that budget low, they don't go like ridiculous with it and pay like I don't even know how these budgets get so inflated. But when they keep the budget low, especially when you got science fiction or horror, if they can keep it low, and this thing looks terrific. It doesn't look $10 million is a lot of money, and everybody knows that. But when you look at the budgets of these other films, when the special effects don't even look as good as this, it's like you spend like $100 million on it. It's like, what happened, guys? Come on, what happened? You know what I'm saying? The script does a very well job of disguising the fact that it all takes place not all of it. A lot of the film takes place in a centralized location. Though there are scenes that take place out in the woods, out on the road, and things of that nature. And there's scenes that take place before they actually get to this rental house. The film also stars Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid is kind of becoming a horror movie icon in himself. He's Dennis Quaid's son, and he was a major character in not the most recent Scream film, but the 5th Scream film that they just decided to call Scream in an attempt to trick everyone, or not trick like new viewers into thinking it was like the first of its line. But no, but he played. I'm not going to give it away, but those who know. So Jack Quaid in Companion plays probably the main human character. The most sympathetic character in the film is an android played by Sophie Thatcher as the Iris. It's a very interesting way that this is set up. It almost is a little bit written like a stage play where there are layers to the story, and as you're going, there are plot twists that some of them, they're not quite shocking. It's not going to be like a plot twist like Sixth Sense, and you're like, holy shit, I can't believe that. Most of them you kind of see coming, but they're enjoyable. And that's the thing about this film, is nothing's going to quite surprise you, but the way that it's structured, and the way it's directed, and the way that it's acted, it's all very entertaining. The very first maybe half hour of this film is a little bit of a struggle. It's not. Struggle might be a harsh word, but it takes a little while to get everything set up. But you are enjoying. Well, I guess the thing is that, like, things seem familiar. Like, you got a group of friends come to this rental house. They're all hanging out. One of the guys there is played by Rupert Friend, who played Quinn on the Homeland show. But he plays he's got like a kind of a Russian accent, and he's the owner of this house, and he's a billionaire. But they're basically hanging out, and there's some things going on that seem a little weird. Now, the main character, Iris, played by Sophie Thatcher, is an android, but you don't know that at first, so it eventually reveals that, and it's not necessarily shocking. And if you read the description before watching the film, you already know that. So it's not something that's a shock, but it's kind of interesting the way that before that it's really focusing on her coming into this situation, and like the people not really liking her, and you see it from her point of view for the most part, and you kind of start to feel some sympathy for her, not realizing that she's a computer-programmed AI. Now, the film is a bit of a cautionary tale about both AI, artificial intelligence, and human behavior. Now, the AI by itself isn't that dangerous. They've got safeguards on this android, but later on those safeguards are removed by humans because of human nature wanting to push the boundaries of certain things. So like it's kind of that a mixture of AI with human involvement escalating AI to a dangerous level. This is also a bit of a caper or a heist film in a way, and all of this is revealed slowly throughout the film in very interesting ways. I don't want to give away every plot point of this film, but I will say that as far as what happens on screen, it started out a little slow for me, a little bit of a struggle at first, even though I did like the performances, especially Sophie Thatcher, terrific. And then the reveals as it goes on, and the robots, I guess there's kind of sex the companions is what it's called. They're made for just to be a companion, and there's some very interesting themes running through this film, as far as like the main android wanting love, and there's also, I mean, she's wanting love, and what is love, and what's interesting is, and you got pet names, and it makes me think of like relationships I've been in where I was with somebody and everything seemed like it was just so dynamic and so like there, and you were in that space and you had these pet names, and they got these pet names, and it just all feels real, and then later on you break up, and then it feels like nothing. If you think about the people that happened to, it, like they're gone now, and it's like it felt so special then, but now it feels like nothing. And so it's like you ask that type of thing about how something feels like nothing now, where they are nothing. They aren't even human. They're androids, but they're programmed. So they're programmed to kind of be the pixie dream girl, or in other instances they're a pixie dream guy, depending on the android that you get. But they're there for that support, and they're going to basically be there for you. And the film also has a lot of themes about control. Well, when it comes down to it, the way the android is treated, it's the same way a narcissist would treat a significant other. So it kind of has that parallel. So she doesn't even have to be an android for this situation to work, even though the main human character, Josh, played by Jack Quaid, he is a bit of a narcissist in a way, but the whole world revolves around him, and he treats the companion or the robot like his property, which she is. He's renting her. Again, there's a lot of interesting themes going on in this film, but I'd say the biggest take to me of it is just it was a lot of fun for me. I really like, and this is a film where I was watching it and I thought I was going to watch it in 2 nights, and I ended up watching it all in 1 night. So that's something to be said for it. Let's take a look at this release. So this is a 4K UHD release, and here's the back side of it. This is a Warner Brothers release, WB. On the inside we have the same cover. This is a nice slip. I really like this cover. It does reveal a lot about the film, but it's hard to go into this completely blind. On the inside, we have a 4K only disc. Now, there isn't a Blu-ray in this particular release. I think there might be a separate Blu-ray disc, and it's just white on the inside. The film, this being a 2025 film, it looks terrific. The transfer, the 4K is great. The black levels, I noticed more than anything, the black levels are right there. That you see the right mix of in the shadow detail. Now, most of this film is not very dark. It's a very light film. It's a lot of it takes place during the day outside. Now, there are occasionally some very extremely violent things that happen out of nowhere. It's very jarring when that happens, and it's very like holy shit, which are awesome. But there's that going on. But as far as like, now there is some green when you're outside. You see a lot of grass and things of that nature, and it really just that kind of pops out. But a lot of it is fairly subdued. But I don't have a lot of complaints about this. I don't think you're going to either when you're watching it for the 4K transfer. I think you're going to find everything here to be very clean and very pleasurable. There's a lot of detail in the faces and the textures and things of that nature. But again, this is a brand new film shot digitally. It is intentionally made for this, and this has an HDR to it that does really well. I don't have a Blu-ray, so I can't compare it. I would think the Blu-ray might be a smidge below. It's not going to have as much quality here as this, but it's going to look terrific. 2. So I'm going to go ahead and rate this film on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I did think the performances, the script is friggin' fantastic, the direction and the lighting, it's all fantastic here. As far as, I mean, I guess this release, I'm going to give it, I'll give it like 3.5, no, maybe 4 stars for the release. I can't really, I don't have much complaints about it. I do have a minor complaint about the ending. I think the ending works, but I don't want to give away exact plot points about the ending, but I will say that this film, one thing about this film, if you've ever seen the show Westworld, which is friggin' fantastic. They went 4 seasons with this show, very similar type of concept about androids, and they delved into it a lot deeper in this show. The first season of Westworld especially is friggin' terrific, but I will say that it is a little bit of a familiar territory. They do make it a little smaller here with Companion. Now at the end of it, I don't know. I will say, like, I'm kind of questioning some of what they're trying to say with the ending. I don't necessarily want to give away spoilers about the ending, but I will say I thought it maybe went a little too far with the idea of control and what it means, and humans letting, like a specific human in the film, letting the control go to the android instead of like putting that in check. And that's the way things get out of control. All the human characters are real shits for the most part, except for there's one like homosexual human character played by Harvey Gellin. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He was on that What We Do in the Shadow show, played the familiar Guillermo. But he plays Eli in this show, and he's very likable. He's a very likable guy in general, but he's really the only likable human character in the film. So they put most of the sympathy on the androids in a kind of an unfair way, as these androids they can be it's all about, like, you can control them with your phone. You can basically make them really smart or really dumb with your phone. And so I guess a lot of the question comes to, like, the responsibility of this technology, and do we want the androids to get out of control like they do in Westworld? We don't get to the out of controlness here in Companion, but there is some irresponsibility that happens near the end, and I'm not going to spoil that. I would recommend watching this. I think you might enjoy it. I think give it especially like 30 minutes in, just you might get hooked like I did. Now, I would recommend watching this film. Some of the ideas are maybe questionable, but it is a film. And I think it does a good job of entertaining you, and that's what films need to do. They need to entertain. There's a little bit of satire subtext going on with it, which is it may be kind of dark comedy, which I think is hilarious in some instances. But when it takes itself way too serious and it maybe try to push some agenda, I don't necessarily agree with that. And it does seem like maybe it might be going in that way. But as far as, I think, as humans, and you got to be able to separate the human and the AI. Now, humans do have and this is depicted here and in Westworld, they do have that tendency to be self-indulgent, but in both this and Westworld, they kind of put a lot of what you would consider like I guess humanity, but it's more of a sympathetic type of humanity on an artificial intelligence to make the audience connect with this intelligence better. And you give this intelligence too much power, and you give the humans who are not up to par in this film, they will eventually decide that they should be in charge and not the humans. But I don't know, it's a very slippery slope and it's very dangerous. But if you would do me a favor and go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'm Dave Watkins. Thanks for watching.